Kanye, Adele, Nicki, and Gaga. Hi, I'm Wendy Bounds, and the Grammy Awards, that's what's on our off-duty list this weekend. Kanye West, Adele, the Foo Fighters, and Bruno Mars, they'll be headlining at the Grammys this weekend. You'll see all the big acts duking it out for top honors. Right now, though, we've got our Wall Street Journal music experts, and they've got their picks and their pans.
Jim Fusilli, also John Jurgensen, and Chris Farley. Guys, some major headlines here. First of all, we're going to see Adele in a post-vocal cord surgery performance. Also, the controversial Chris Brown coming back to perform, and also a return of the Beach Boys. But are those the biggest headlines that we should be looking for?
People have been waiting to have her come back and perform for a long time. Her album sold without her, which I'm sure a lot of artists are envying the fact she can sell artists and not actually be present on American television. But the Chris Brown thing is something people are going to be talking about a lot because there's still a lot of anger over the whole Rihanna incident. They're both going to be on hand for these awards. People are looking for fireworks, but I know a lot of people don't want to play his music.
Which makes you think about the statement the Recording Academy is sending by bringing him back. I mean, stoking the fires of controversy and some ratings possibly, but...
And it all comes down to that almighty dollar, right?
Well, I think this is the key issue whenever you're discussing the Grammys. I mean, I think it's disingenuous to think of it as a music award program. It's a marketing award program. And it's more and more designed to be TV entertainment rather than a celebration of the past year in music.
There was a shock last year with Esperanza Spalding, who actually upset Justin Bieber and Drake to become Best New Artist. And that was kind of a stark departure from that whole. Any picks for this year for that?
And Nicki Minaj. I think Nicki Minaj
she should win it, I think.
Is going to win. I think she should win. There are some sort of worthy candidates out there, but it was a terrific album. She was everywhere, so I'd like to see her, go home with it.
Yeah, if you measured it by ubiquity and how many appearances she had on award shows, cameos on other people's records, I mean, hands down,
but
by sales. It
goes back to your whole thing that it's about marketing, and she's a part of the marketing machine. Isn't that part of it?
Yeah, but yes, but you could defend the album as high quality. I mean,
most definitely.
It's much like Adele. I mean, Adele's album is superb. And just because she's nominated in every category and might appear to be part of this marketing strategy, there's actual quality there.
Is there a point that it goes too far?
Well, I mean, I think it's gone too far for a while now. I don't think the Grammys are indicative of what's going on in today's music scene. I think it's pretty weak soup.
I mean, I think that everyone wants the Grammys to be all things to all people. I mean, you can't, if you took away those big glossy stars, the Katy Perrys and the Nickis and the Gagas, well, how would you justify that?
We can't be shocked by people wanting to market music. I mean, this has been going on since there's been recorded music. People market people, they come up with images, they change their names, they go out there and sell their music. This is not a new thing. But it is always an ongoing outrage who gets ignored and who doesn't get nominated in some of these categories.
One thing I found very troubling is that once upon a time there were 109 categories. Now there are only 78. And the 31 they cut were mostly in the marginal categories, where people who could really profit from having won a Grammy, to go from here to here.
And this is at a time where the industry is more fragmented than ever. So to consolidate the awards base, that's a problem, right?
But if the point is to promote music, to promote good music, it's too bad there are actually going to be fewer musicians able to get their names out there to sell their music.
Whether or not they were on stage or not.
Exactly. Because if you can run around saying, I got a Grammy, in whatever category, it helps your career, it helps build credibility, and maybe it helps bring some interest into whatever tiny category you're nominated for. And now we're going to see these larger categories, some of which don't need any help from the public to sell more records. And I think that's really sad. It's not a good thing for American music in the end.
Are the Grammys as relevant as they used to be?
Well, I don't know that they've ever been relevant in determining what really is the best music that's currently available. You don't see a lot of Grammy wins by the Beatles, for example. Motown won its share of Grammys, but probably not as many as they should have. I think that if we acknowledge that Grammys are for major label artists who have been marketed heavily, and it's a night of celebration of a certain segment of music, then they're fine. But if you think they represent what's happening in the music scene overall, then they're actually detrimental.
And if you can't keep up with the hyperspeed changes in the music business, you're not alone. Our own Lee Hawkins, he gets his fingers on the pulse of how the industry is shifting from stars new and old.
What does it take to stay on top in the music industry?
I got my own artist, I have my own record label, I produce.
Today's most successful musicians bring in money through a variety of means.
I have my own movie.
It's not just about album sales, it's about brand.
I act. I have my own shoes.
Okay, stop. Why not just make music?
Come on and love.
Music and business go hand in hand, because if they don't, somebody else will be making your money for you.
Have you ever worried that would chip away at all at the artistic creativity?
No, integrity is my business. It's my brand. We have the fans, we have the masses already. So we start a website tomorrow or a company tomorrow, clothing line tomorrow, 10,000, 20,000, 3 million plus gonna know about it right then on the spot.
It's very good to say, I'm in it for the music, but it's the music business. And if you're not in it for everything, there's somebody who's as talented at taking your money as you are at making it.
We'll see if these artists have what it takes to stay on top.
You can catch the entire Grammy special right here on youtube.com/WSJ or WSJ.com. And she may not yet be a household name, but the sound of Imelda May is unforgettable. The queen of rockabilly sits down with Jim Fusilli.
Time will help you see another way. It's not too late to find eternity. Oh,
You're much more than rockabilly, I think, unless you have a different definition of rockabilly.
No, I'm not. Rockabilly is what got me into alternative music, if you like, or music that wasn't mainstream on the radio. So rockabilly, I owe it a lot because it introduced me to all kinds of music. And it was the first music as a teenager that set me soul on fire, if you like. That was the first time I'd had that feeling inside, when you hear music and you just go, ah. So that's what rockabilly did for me. And then through rockabilly, I discovered country and blues, a lot of Hank Williams stuff. He did a lot of country, bluesy, gospel stuff, and then I got into the gospel, the blues. From that I got into jazz. From that it just went on and on and on.
When you are doing the rockabilly thing, it's real.
I love the passion of it. Early on I was told to take the rockabilly bit out. When I was talking to record companies, I was told,
Good Lord.
If you go down the jazzier route, you'll do better. And take that out because it's the kiss of death. And that, being a stubborn Irish woman, that made me want to do it more, but it also made me curious as to why they would say that about such an influential music.
Yeah.
Who, without rockabilly, you wouldn't have a lot of what you have now. You wouldn't have rock and roll, you wouldn't have punk rock.
Sure.
It opened the doors for rebelliousness and that aggression, that you still get now. And a lot of players all over the world, from Jeff Beck to Paul McCartney, cite rockabilly as they wanted to be rockabilly players.
Sure. Do you see these executives anymore? Do you see them at social events and you tell them, see, you advised me to go?
Well, actually, I'm signed to that record label because it started to kick off, and I was doing gigs around, and there was a buzz started to happen. They did me a favour, really, because I got to go make an album that I wanted to make.
Right.
I had no record company. I had no pressure. I had no time limit, although I did record it in about a week. Or a couple of weeks or so, because we were on tour. And but I didn't have no kind of anybody breathing down my neck or anything. So I got to make the album that I wanted. The people started to come. We'd gig to 20 people, then the next week it'd be 40, then it'd be 80, it was 100, 300, and it started to do that quite quick. And we were on the Jules Holland, later with Jules Holland music show in England, and the very next day the phones were hopping, and there was a few record companies calling, and one of those would the ones that tore me
Oh,
down.
isn't that funny?
And they said, what we didn't get about you, you know, a few months ago, we really get now. Can we talk?
Great.
So lucky I'm not bitter. I just said, yeah, sure, let's have a chat.
That's it for today's WSJ Off Duty. I hope you'll click above to subscribe. Don't forget our comment and like section below. Join me on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Wendy Bounds. See you next week.